Thank you for tuning in to another episode of His Wife, Her Husband.
I am Shemika, his wife.
And I am Patrick, her husband, and our purpose is to help you build
and sustain your marriage
from a biblical perspective. This one today is going to be a little bit different. There's no actual video, but it's a good interview that was done. Our friend Ruth Abigail, our friend Ruth Abigail, she has a podcast called UnlearnT, UNLEARN, capital T, podcast. And so we had the privilege of being interviewed. I think we talked about it last time. And it's one of those interviews that, listen, Shemika was in her bag on this one. Just want y'all to know. And it was a really good interview. She dropped some really good nuggets. And we wanted to share that interview with you, and Ruth Abigail allowed us to be able to upload that for you all. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to say, too, that this particular interview gives or features more in depth of Patrick and our journey in marriage. And so if you have enjoyed the Unequally Yoked video, then this one will give a little bit more depth to it. So be sure to check that out. View that. Be sure to view the Unequally Yoked video.
Right.
But do that after this one.
Correct.
Yeah, this is good stuff. And Patrick dropped some bars too. Yep, he dropped some.
No, that's not like what Shemika did. If you listen to this, and we're asking you to, if you're on, I think it's on Spotify and Apple.
Yeah.
For the UnlearnT Podcast, please go over there and subscribe. Or I don't know, what do you do on the podcast? Do you subscribe? Yeah, subscribe to her podcast. And just want to tell her thank you for inviting us to be a part of it. It's called, this series that she's doing is Unlearning Marriage.
Yeah.
And it's a really good one. So yeah, I don't have anything else. You got anything?
Yeah. I with Patrick. Just be sure to subscribe. Ruth Abigail has definitely been a joy and a strength in Patrick in my life. And so she has a way of asking those questions to make us dig deep.
Right.
And very few people can do that, but she is definitely one that can.
Right, great interview.
Yep. And so we've had different people to come and just even comment on it. So this one, I believe, is one for the books. So,
right, it is. So enjoy, and we'll see you guys next week.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to the UnlearnT Podcast. I am your host, Ruth Abigail Smith, and this is the podcast where we are all about helping you gain the courage to change your mind so that you can experience more freedom. So, this series is all about unlearning marriage. And for those of you that do not know, I myself am about to enter into this season. So I figure I'm going to get some free counseling from some people, and y'all can just listen in. Amen. So it's really about me. But y'all can hear it too. Amen. So I have two of my big brother and big sister in the house. But also, they are pastors, they are coaches, they are business owners, they are parents. They are married for 26 years.
I saw you look at me. I always know the answer.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. I feel like that'll be something coming up later in the conversation. Okay. But I'm excited about this. So I think unlearning marriage is not just important because I'm in it and I'm in this season, right? But man, I have had a few friends, man, that have just like, it's over, right? And under 10 years. And friends, but also people that I know. And it's like, yo, what is going on?
Right.
And like, and it's not new.
Right.
Like, that's not new. Right. But I think it really has given me pause to just say, there's got to be some things that we're missing and that we're either we're just not catching, we're not grasping, or we just refuse to let go of before we get into these relationships. And so I just want to talk about that. Like, so yeah, what do y'all think? I mean, y'all been married for 26 years. you're a little older than I am, but I'm sure y'all seen it all.
Right. I would think that would have to go back so we did a series on our podcast called Unequally Yoked. And that kind of spoke to what I think is happening, that we were at a point where we were unequally yoked in terms of not necessarily religion, but in terms of how we view philosophy and how we view marriage and stuff like that. So I think getting on one accord it was mainly me. I was just out there getting on one accord. I think that helped out. And so we didn't do what my wife is about to say that she explained earlier today, is there were things that we didn't divorce before we got married on the front end. So,
Ooh, that's good. Can I do something that I forgot to do? It'd probably be a good idea if they knew your names.
Oh, okay.
You know, that'd probably be good.
Yeah.
This is I got Patrick Harrington and I got SHEMIKA Harrington on the microphone.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I am Patrick, her husband.
I am SHEMIKA, his wife.
Come on, intro. So what do people have to divorce before they?
So it's interesting. So I think that a lot of times the divorce rate is high in marriages now, because we don't divorce on the front end. If you divorce and all divorce is basically rendering something as dead, separated, inoperative, like it'll no longer exist in your world, right? It's no longer joined to you. So when you get married, you becoming the two are becoming one. But if you don't divorce and cut off all people, places, and things from your marriage, then those things still have life and have say in your marriage. And so if you don't cut those things off, then you'll end up cutting your spouse out to still have those people, places, and things.
Which is one of the things that happened with our marriage, because when we got married, I still wanted to operate single.
What did that mean?
Meaning go without having a conversation with her, hang out as long as I wanted to hang out with my friends without being what's the word? Not responsible, but accountable. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was at 11 p.m., I'm leaving. I'm not saying anything to her. I'm just going to leave, because that's what I did before we got married. Another thing that we do, and people may look at it as controlling, but it's not really controlling. It's about, again, accountability. If I'm going somewhere, I want to let her know where I am. You know, hey, listen, we're about to go here. We're about to go to the store. Or, you know, I was on my way home, but I'm about to make a detour to go over Keith's house. You know what I'm saying? And it's, for me, if I'm single, I don't have to call nobody and say that.
Right.
But when I'm married, she needs to know that, because what if something happens on the way to Keith's house? And the quicker they can, God forbid, but the quicker they can find me, my chances of survival if something horrible goes wrong, she knows, okay, wait a minute, he was going to Keith's house, so he probably went down Shelby Drive. I don't know, whatever the case may be. So, so some of those things you have to kind of divorce that in the beginning of the marriage. Yeah,
and again, and I think that if divorce is practiced in our lives from a spiritual manner, because it's so funny. I was just thinking about the word divorce, unlearning that it's not just applicable to marriage. Like, I have to divorce actions. I have to divorce philosophies and ideas that will not serve us well, because now it's no longer me. It won't serve us well in this institution of marriage. Yeah. You know? And so even the scripture, and sometimes it could be kind of harsh, especially if you come from a very loving and caring family tribe or family structure.
That's good.
But the Lord knew the power of unity in one. So when he say a man, one that's mature, shall leave his father and mother. Those are his two life sources. Leave that to become one, to cleave, to now be joined to his wife, right? The Lord knew that that alone is a form of a divorce. Why? I have to let go of what I once knew to now learn life with another.
Wait a minute. Just hold on. Golly. I've honestly never heard that. I've never heard.
Me neither.
I've never heard that. I think that's so profound.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah.
Like that's real. Because that, like, when you have, okay, so I'm gonna be honest. That part, even for me, our family is fairly close. I'm learning, actually, we're closer than I think a lot of families are. I didn't realize that. 'Cause
True.
we still do our thing.
Right.
But they're just ways that we stay close. And it wasn't until, I got into this relationship and I realized how close I really was to my family and what kind of expectations I had based on that closeness of how we would operate. Right. Even when it comes to how we operate with my family.
Right.
And, his family isn't actually here. He's close to them, but they're not present. So I didn't realize how connected my heart and my actions were still to them in this process of like unlearning being single, right? And that idea of divorcing your family,
And
divorcing your life source,
yes, come on,
that's big.
Come on, the person who has always provided for you, the person that has always given you provision, protection, godly attention,
Man, look.
right?
Oh God, you're
Right.
killing
So,
me. This
so
is good.
but think about that though. That becomes, if we're talking about marriage, and we're talking about husband and wife, that becomes the part of the husband's responsibility now. You know what I'm saying? To be the provider, the protector, and the godly attention to the wife. To his spouse. And so, go ahead.
And so this is why it is so vitally important that the father, what he's doing with his daughter, is he's transferring care. Right? So it's not, it is a divorcing because it is a shifting though.
Yeah.
And so in your mind though, as the one that is becoming, that are becoming married, then that's the part you have to say, okay, my father, my parents, my family, trust me now in the care of this person.
Yeah.
But now, remember, it's in the scripture, and I don't, anyway, here we go. We get ready to explore. So it say, a man shall leave his father and mother. I believe that a caring husband would not want to just cut off all life. Like you can't say anything to your mama, daddy, your sister, brother. Like, what kind of loving person is that? Why? Because the person that he's now joining in and coming in life with, this is a result of them.
Yeah.
So this is why it's
A result of your parents.
so this is why it's important for a mother and a father to be there for their children.
Yeah.
Because the mother and father built a foundation. So we're taking that concept that the husband is coming in not to tear down the foundation,
Correct.
but to build on the foundation that has already been laid by the father and the mother in the household, which is why it is so imperative that the children are raised by a mother and a father. And whether it's in the same house or not, but in relationship, that's a great foundation to be built. So now each party, meaning the son knows what he should do as he gets married. The daughter knows what she can do as she gets married. So they have this, and we're going with the text, that the husband will give up himself.
Yes.
And he will love.
Yes.
And then the wife would, in the context, will respect.
Yes.
Or, you know what I'm saying? So, and they're both submitting.
And respect.
Remember
is
now.
really responding.
Right.
So what do you do when you don't have that foundation and you don't have that? Because I know a lot. I mean, there are a number of my friends,
Correct,
who are following God, who are godly women and men, but that is lacking. That maybe they didn't have that foundation that you're talking about. So how do I? What do I do with that? Like, can I have a healthy marriage?
Yes, you still can.
What do I have to do?
So here's the thing that goes to down the line is that what I think is missing in churches, there's no discipleship. So there isn't any marriage discipleship. There's marriage conferences.
Yeah.
There's marriage seminars, but not disciple. Each couple should have a couple that's discipling them. So in discipleship is not, we sit down and we talk about the word of God. Discipleship is you're spending time with me on a regular basis to see how I handle issues, to see how I handle victories and things of that nature. So failures, all that. And how do I come back from the failure? So for a person that doesn't have, like, we just reached out to a couple because we realized we don't have a couple over us. Like, we don't. So we reached out to a couple. Hey, we need discipleship. We need someone who is 35 years where we're trying to get to.
Right.
And so we need that. So for a person that does not have that particular background, that does not have that kind of foundation and upbringing, and we're talking about people in the church, that they need to find somebody.
Yeah.
And so Elisha followed Elijah.
He found him and followed
So
him.
is it the onus of the one who's looking for it to go find it, or the older one to go and, like, who's supposed to do the pursuing?
Yes.
Yes.
So for us, we looked for, now if you really want it, so here's the thing, if you really want the marriage, you're going to be the one that's pursuing.
Yeah.
If you really want it. So for us, we found someone that we wanted to disciple us. But by the time we're always kind of having couples that we're always talking to. So it's not hard for us to find somebody else. We had somebody who's under us.
Yeah.
But we don't have anybody that's over us. So I think it's both and. If you know you're a couple that you're not discipling anybody, go see a couple. There's a couple in my neighborhood. I prayed yesterday. I'm like, God, figure out a doorway for us to start spending time with them. I see them and I see us 20 years ago. They're trying to do the best they can. They don't have a lot of resources. They don't have a lot of family members to come over. And my heart wants to figure out a way, because you're talking about guys. Yeah. You just can't be like, hey man, I want to be your friend. That guy's not doing that. So I had to figure out a way for that to happen. So for me, it was, I'm looking for not only the couple to disciple us, but for us to a couple for us to disciple. Go ahead.
To go to your question too, I would say, like, I didn't have a firm foundation, right? But one of the things that I believe that we are dismissive of is the power of the or. It's always a little piece of, like, you know, I'm thinking about Paul doing
you say the or? Okay, gotcha.
O-A-R, all right?
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for spelling it. Okay, good. I got it.
And so it's that little board, right? After the shipwreck, it was the or that saved him. They got him to shore. I mean, you know, of course we know it was God, but God allowed the or to be there to help get him to the shore. Okay. And sometimes it's just that little piece, that little piece of hope can help you can be the cornerstone for you to start building on. So let's not despise that little piece, right? That little piece of hope, that little piece to want to have a godly marriage, a godly legacy, or to want to do it God's way, because he created marriage, right? So, but then we know we live in a...
What was your or?
What was my? I would have to admit, that's a good question. I would have to admit that or for me was just that ray of hope that I wanted to be the first in my family to have a marriage. That I only wanted to be married one time to the person that I married, which is Patrick. When I married Patrick, that would be the only marriage that I would have, and that we could raise children up in that same, like, be honest, in my mind, and again, I can remember thinking this when I was about between 8 or 10. I was like, I want to have my own family tree, not knowing what I was thinking, right? But I you know, because really you can't disconnect from your family,
right?
But then you can create new legacy. Yeah, you can create something new, and it's like that's what I wanted.
Where did it come? Like, where did it come from? Like, where did you see somebody else? Did you see something on TV? Like, what put that in your mind?
So that's a good question too. So I would say that. So I did grow up in the era of the Huxtables. I grew up in the era of the Fresh Prince. I grew up in the era of Good Times. These are things that I remember seeing. But I also remember spending time with family friends, and there was a husband and a wife. And I always thought that as a child I was missing out because I didn't have a daddy and a mama in the same house. Like, they had the garage and they had all of the the stuff, right? And again, I was a child, so I thought as a child. So it's kind of like, oh, you're supposed to have a mom and a dad. So I think that they came out of a deep longing, right? Looking back, I believe my mom did the best that she could. And I didn't have a father that was active at all. And so, I that was just one of those things.
You mean you talking about your biological father?
Yeah, my biological father was not actively involved. I did have a dad that stepped in. However, even with that, he was building his life because my parents that I knew, they divorced. And so then you have that breakout. It's just kind of like, they just became dismissive. But the only thing that I can say that maybe sparked that would probably be the sitcoms that I viewed. That it was some morality, it was some structure, it was some order. Because other than that, I have no idea. I think that it was just planted there by the Lord.
I think it just brings back like representation and seeing something is like, It is everything. You cannot replace that, whether it's like you said, it's on a screen or going to your friends' houses or whatever. I think that's incredibly important. So, what?
Pause 1 second too. I wanted to share too, like even with the discipleship, it's not just. I like how you said that, Patrick. It's not just telling, but teaching is auditory as well as observation. Like this is how we learn best. The teacher went to the board to show us how to work through a problem, to form a sentence, right? That she didn't just say, well, do it like this and write it. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So I think, again, to emphasize, the marriage discipleship in the church, this is why it's so important to hold your hand out to help bring a marriage up. It keeps you humble. And then by the same token, when you reach up to another couple, it helps you to be in a place of learning, and it helps you to be able to observe and to listen. So it keeps us all in this framework of we're honoring God and we're doing the best we can, going back to we are being a visible example of God. In the institution of marriage.
So I want to go back to y'all's journey. Okay. You said something earlier about being unequally yoked. And you said for you were the one that was kind of the one that was out there. So talk to me about year one of the Herrington marriage. What are the things that you look back and be like, whoo, like.
So year one, I like to say I was an alcoholic. Some people say I wasn't an alcoholic, but I would miss work to drink, to get drunk. So I think that put me in the category of alcoholism. Alcohol, I wasn't can I say weed head?
You can.
All right. In the mic I said, can I say weed head? I wasn't a weed head, but I did smoke weed. A womanizer. I was still chasing. So thankfully, I never physically committed adultery with another woman, but mentally I ran through a bunch of them in my mind and in my head and going out. And so for me, I just even going out on like the Mirage and Directors Row and Ebony Lace and all these places, and Denim and Diamond, and so Club Supreme, Superior, Lucia. So anyway.
He cutting up.
Nah, for real, Studio G. So for me, it was kind of like, do I still have it? Because I didn't want to lose it.
Did you feel like getting married took that away from you?
When she told me the very 2 weeks, so we get married, 2 weeks later, 11 p.m., I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to go out. She said, where you going? I'm like, what you mean where I'm going? I'm going where I always go, hang out with the fellas. She's like, no, you can't.
But Patrick, you can't.
You can't. Why? You're married. So I wouldn't say, I'm a grown blank man. You can't tell me where I can and can't go.
But Patrick, we married.
But I'm grown. And you just told me I can't go anywhere. Nah, this not happening. So now immediately I feel like, I done got trapped. Like, what can I'm not myself anymore. I can't be me because I got to be married. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the married thing is. And so I bucked hard to try to maintain my singleness while I was married. Like whatever needed to be done that I was doing as a single guy, I needed to do that because I didn't want to be forced or made to do something, which was a right thing to do. And so I stayed gone more. 6 o'clock in the morning. I would leave maybe 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I would not come back until 6 o'clock that morning.
Ridiculousness.
Drinking. I'm about to go deep.
Yeah.
Coming home drunk and still wanted to be intimate, but there was really no intimacy.
Yeah.
It wasn't intimacy. It wasn't loving sex.
Yeah.
It was just, okay, I'm drunk. Let me get this off and then move on. You know what I'm saying? And so that was what, a year and a half, maybe 2 years of that. You know what I'm saying? And it was just it was terrible.
Pause.
Okay.
A year and a half, 2 years. Why did you stay?
Woo,
Tell her what you said.
What'd I say, Patrick?
She was like, well, I'm gonna get a divorce because she didn't sign up for this. Then she said, no, that's too easy for him.
Too easy. He is not getting off
that
the hook.
easy.
He ain't leave me here with these 2 chicks. The devil is a lie.
So y'all had 2 kids in that for those first 2 years. Oh yeah, no, you ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I've done that too. Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Because in your mind, and it's so funny, in my mind, it was like it's just easy to go back. And going back to the family upbringing, I was brought up with strong black women. They did their thing.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have, they like whatever, you know, the man got the man, so they,
Right.
reasons.
And then?
But other than that, it was like, it was a no-brainer. Then I thought about it, and I guess, again, it was nothing but the Holy Ghost. You think about it and be like, it just kicked in. I guess that promise that I wanted, it kicked in. And
So that's the spiritual side.
that's the spirit. Wait, go ahead.
The practical side is she stopped fussing at me about going out. She stopped trying to make me stay. She stopped trying to.
But wait, let's lead up to that now.
So what
Because
you
now,
mean?
before I stop fussing, this is so funny. I went into. So Patrick was doing his thing. That when you said that you was gonna go out, when he left and went out, I can remember saying, "Dear God, what have I gotten myself into?" Right? I didn't say it out loud, but in my mind, I was like, "Oh man, this is not going right." And so then I let it kind of sit on. I think another 2 weeks, maybe a month. I can remember kneeling down. We had a white couch in the living room. I remember kneeling down and I prayed and I said, Lord, I remember growing up and those old mothers in the church said prayer work. I think I'm getting ready to give it a try.
Wow.
I remember. That's all I had was going back to that observation and what we
Wow.
brought up on. And so I went in prayer, R.A., to tell God all about Patrick and what he was doing. And I did. For 2 weeks, the Lord let me get it all out. And I remember hearing a small, still voice say, I'm about to change you. And I was like, me? I ain't doing nothing. I said it just like that. I ain't doing nothing. Real country-like. I always been country.
That's good.
And sure enough, he changed my heart.
Wow.
Like I began to, now, again, I was like, Lord, what's wrong with me? What I need to do? He had me to go to stay quiet. That silence was golden and not in silent treatment. Now.
Yeah.
Right.
But silence is golden. You don't have to say everything you see. You don't have to say that. Observe his mannerism. I began to wonder why he wanted to go out, why he wanted to be with certain friends. Why did he choose alcohol? Why I'm not interested in alcohol. I began to explore and ask all those questions. And then the Lord began to just grow me up. Like, this is my faith and this is what I believe. And one thing that I can say that I held on to, and this is the thing that got Patrick, I said, we friends. So I would say, like, even in the marriage, I would say, if you had to unlearn something, unlearn the idea that it's just a role, it's just something to do. Like, even though you say husband or you say wife, it's really friend. It's like best friend.
Yeah. Right.
There's nobody that takes the place of that space.
Yeah.
It's so sacred. It's so exclusive,
Yeah.
right? And so have fun times. And so, when Patrick was out and then I began to pray for his soul as a person.
Yeah.
Not for him to come back and do what I wanted him to do. I didn't want him to lift his eyes up in hell. I'm just going to be honest. I didn't want him to be lost. I did not want him to die in the streets. I can remember praying, don't bring him home lame. Don't bring him home dead. And I don't want to hear, I don't want the cops to come to the door.
Yeah.
I can remember specifically praying that. I want him to come back home changed. Yep.
And so she changed. And so she stopped asking questions. Here's the funny thing. Food would be ready whenever I came home.
Because listen, he had almost burned us down 3 or 4 times.
Because I'm coming home drunk.
He
Yeah.
drunk, but
Still
he
trying to
hungry.
cook.
Hungry.
Yeah, and I'm hungry. And so she would cook, and that's when I got suspicious. I'm like, okay, she's trying to kill me. Because she got food ready with no attitude, what's going on. She would ask me about my night. So you've been gone all night. You just not coming home. So how was it last
So what
night?
do y'all do?
What do you mean?
Like y'all just dance the whole time?
Don't ask me that. No, what are you? Oh, I can't tell you that. What is wrong with this? I think she's trying to kill me. Like, I don't know what's going on. And so she's praying. Now, part of the backstory is that I found out later on is that she's anointing me when I come home drunk, pass out. She's anointing me with all kinds of chicken grease and whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's all over my face and stuff. And she would anoint doorposts and doorknob. Anything she felt like I would come in to touch, whatever, it would be anointed with oil and myself and saturated with, so you got me, saturated with prayer.
Yeah, it worked.
And for some reason, the thing that I've done, I started drinking at 13, started smoking at 16. The thing that I had done for 13 years and 10 years at that time, I stopped. I'm like, okay, something's not right. So I'm in the back of my friend's van on director's row, and everybody's out doing their thing. And I'm in the back. I think I was smoking a Swisher Sweet and drinking on some Crown Royal.
Mercy.
And I'm saying to myself, okay, God, it's got to be more to life than this. I don't know where this is coming from. Now I know she's, for a year and a half, is just going in. And I'm like, okay, for me, I paid attention to the voice. Doesn't mean that everybody's going to pay attention to the voice, but I promise you, God is dealing with their heart. And for me, I surrendered that I wanted something different, because I saw the same people at Denim and Diamond, that I saw at Ebony Lace, that I saw at Studio G, that I saw on Director's Row, that I saw at Club Mirage. I saw the same group everywhere I went. And I kept saying, okay, this is not it.
Yeah.
I got to give me something different.
Yeah.
And that's when 2 weeks later, I actually had a physical vision about me preaching, and that spooked me. And I wasn't high, I wasn't drunk, anything. So, but had not the prayer condition the atmosphere, so to speak, had not the Holy Spirit really grabbed my heart and me pay attention to it, I don't think the vision would have had any effect on me.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I would like to share this too. So another component, remember I was sharing that the Lord said he was going to change me, right? So initially I went in prayer and I was talking to the Lord about it. But then he also had me, he kept elevating and kept helping me to grow. When Patrick would start going out, I would be praying that whole time. I wouldn't sleep either. And I'm telling you, to this day, I don't know where all those words came from.
Wow.
So if he left at 10, he didn't come back to 3 or 4, I would be on my knees on the floor praying and interceding for him the whole time. Sometimes I would kind of doze off and fall asleep. But it depending on what saint is listening to this now, you remember the shut-in. You know, you had them shut-ins. The shut-in. When he would pray all night, I began to do that. Now remember, I'm solo. Right? I don't have anyone, my family don't know about what I'm going through. It's just me and the Lord on this.
And how old were you at this time?
Oh, wow. Let me see. I was 24.
So you were 22?
Let me see. Let me go back. I got married at 20. I was 22.
You were 22 when you got married?
No, I was 20 when I got married.
Okay, so you were 22.
I was a young girl. Ooh, now I
I
ain't never had that question. Now that hit different. That hit different.
Wow.
I was 20 years old. Oh my goodness, R.A. Wow.
Right, because I got saved at 26. Right.
Woo, that hit different. But yeah. So
Wow.
And here I am, 21 years old, telling the Lord, yes. I kept saying I didn't want to be a widow. I didn't want to be married to an alcoholic. I didn't. Yeah, no. But anyway, when he was out, I would be praying. And it's so funny, when I heard the key start rattling at the door, I'd jump in the bed like I was asleep.
Wow.
And then I'd go straight to sleep. But the plate would be ready. The fork would be on the plate. The foil would be on the plate.
Yeah.
21.
Uh-huh.
So let me. I'm gonna ask you this question. You knew who he was before you got married, right?
But he wasn't like
But
that.
I wasn't like
You
that.
weren't. Okay, that's what I want to know. So
She
you
didn't-
weren't like that.
She didn't see that.
So okay, well, pause. This is good.
But
Okay.
we did
Yeah.
stay together before we got
but-
married.
Okay.
Wait a minute. But she didn't. So when we got together, so I was already that. She didn't see that part
The extent
in
of it,
the dating part because she's not around me every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to go home. When I leave home, I get to be Lil Pat from Westwood.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? So she don't see all that. But then when we started living together, she's not. So she was in a backslidden state too. So she's.
Yeah, I wasn't walking at this
Okay.
time.
Yeah,
I hadn't fully committed.
Okay.
That's another thing about marriage, being fully committed.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when we were staying together, it was like, oh, he do his thing, I do my thing. Like I can't say nothing to you, you can't say nothing to me. Like we shared the bills, we did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's
we
like,
come home. So this is
and I
when
never
things,
clubbed or nothing. But
these
it
were
was just
things shit. And I didn't want a
understood.
club woman because I knew
Yeah.
what club women were doing.
Right.
I didn't want my wife to be the club women that I was out messing with.
Correct.
That don't make sense, but it is. So she sees a sign that says, "What will you be doing when Jesus come back?" And that's when she say, "We can't live together no more."
One of us
I'm
gotta
like,
go back.
one of us got to go. I don't want to break up with you.
Yeah.
But we can't do anymore. And at that point, I think she had kind of rededicated her life back to God. She fully committed herself to living the life for Christ. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I got some church in me.
Yeah.
I've heard about Jesus, so whatever problems we go through, Jesus will work it out. You know what I'm saying? That was my comment. And that was maybe Thursday and Tuesday we got married.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So,
Yeah, it was like,
Like that.
yeah.
We called our parents. The only people we called was our parents.
Right.
So looking back, because I think this is something I have this conversation sometimes with single friends. And I mean, we've had this conversation for years. Shemika, what did you see in him after you saw who he really was? You saw all of him. What did you see beyond that gave you the hope to keep praying, interceding, all that stuff? What is it that you saw in him?
You know what? I have to admit, the only thing that he is a genuinely good man. Like he just what you see is what you get. Like he was always true, and that I could respect. Like he was just true. That's I hope I answered.
No, you answering because I want to know, and Pat, I want like either one, because I think a lot of people struggle with separating who people are and what they do. And when it comes to a relationship, dating, engaged, marriage, it's like, how do I see past maybe what's happening right now, like the choices and all this stuff? When does that become a real problem versus I see, like, versus me doing what you did and just and praying through and waiting it out and or whatever? Like, how do you do that? Because I think a lot of people, especially in the church, I think one of the things that's necessary to unlearn when it comes to this is like cutting people off entirely because you don't live the way I live.
Yeah.
Period. I can't deal with you. You won't stop doing this and that. I'm not saying that that's not appropriate sometimes. Maybe it is, but I don't like. But then there are times where, to your point,
You hold
genuinely
on.
good person, they got some things they got to clean up. How do you help people navigate that?
I think the only thing for me would be abuse. So I wasn't abusive to her.
Right.
So once there's abuse, either to you or to say if you got children, to the children, at that point you have to get away. because I think any type of physical, even if it's like, well, he just grabbed me, I'm pretty sure at some point
I'm gonna follow
he's
through.
gonna hit you. And if he's faking like he's gonna hit you, at some point he's gonna follow through with hitting you. So if it's that, and then everybody has their tolerance, you know what I'm saying? So that's, I guess, it's one of the things that I can say, what may be your tolerance may not be somebody else's tolerance.
Yeah.
That, okay, you can tolerate that. I can't tolerate that. Okay, we're married now, so what do I do? Again, my ideal is always trying to find a solution. Even on our channel, we've been called the Huxtables. And it's not because we're the Huxtables. It's that we're always looking for a solution to the problems that we've been through.
Yeah.
And we're trying to give solutions to the issue that's at hand. So the question would be, the question would be for you to ask, what's your breaking point? Like, what's your specific breaking point that this person has? How do you figure out a way to resolve that particular thing? And then pray.
Yeah.
And when you see those deal breakers, like in dating, you have those
That's good.
red flags,
Yeah.
yellow flags.
Yeah.
You know, I think about the ocean. You know how they have the different flags to
yeah.
let you know the currents. You know what's going on, or however the waves flow. When you see those flags, pay
Don't ignore
attention
them.
to it.
Right.
If they tell you that tide is rough, believe that the
Yeah.
tide is rough.
And immediately have the conversation then, because I think what we're advocate now more than we were before is counseling. Like, we weren't big on counseling. Everything was just pray about it. Just go to God about it. Just go to the pastor about it. But now I'm more about, hey man, get the counseling that's needed for it when you see this. So if you're already in the marriage and you see these things, and maybe you didn't see them, or it wasn't as prevalent to you at that particular time, but now it is, you're gonna need some good counseling, not surface counseling either.
And don't ignore going back to don't ignore those signs.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
So when you see that this person, and again, I'm doing this from grown-up eyes now, but when you see certain actions, and in my mind, I'm thinking about maybe a lady that's sitting in a chair getting her nails done, and it's cute because he wants to know my every move. But there's borderline
Yeah.
controlling.
Yeah.
Right.
Why do you want to know
Yeah.
my every move? Why is, these are things you have to stop and you have to consider. It's okay. Don't be rushed into it. Now, it's okay if somebody wants to know for accountability purposes. Baby, the world is crazy. I need to know, I just want to know just for safety purposes. That's respectful. But if every time I do something, then you hammering down on me, or you don't, those are flags. Those are signs.
Yeah.
So don't be dismissive of that. And don't try to excuse behavior. Another thing.
Good.
Another thing, too, is it's so important, it's vitally important for your family and your friends to be around you, because love has a tendency to blind you, but it does not blind your friends and your family.
True.
They will see things that you don't see.
Right.
Yeah. That's
Because
good.
I don't have any, like, he ain't kissing and touching and hugging
Right,
on me.
right,
She ain't
right,
kissing and touching and hugging on me.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh yeah,
And
that's
if a lot
a
of
joker
people
there.
have the same thing about that, and they don't know each other, and they're saying the same thing about that, you
Yeah.
probably want to pay attention to
Yeah.
that. I got a couple of friends, and I'm trying to get them to see that they keep choosing their emotions over evidence. The evidence is showing that this is what the
That's
person
that
think
flag
about you,
again.
but their emotions are so caught up that they're ignoring the evidence, and they're allowing their emotions, as my wife say, to move them. What's your thing?
The root
Emotion?
word of emotion is motion. It causes you to move. So I'm going to respond and move out of an encounter or an experience.
Yeah.
And so again, we go into the ocean anyway. We know that it's a risk.
Yeah.
But I want to ride that wave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, again, some of our aversions to risk are different. Going back to their tolerance, right? You may be a risk taker, but it can be borderline dangerous too.
Right.
But you do know you're running a risk.
Yeah.
But it has to be addressed early, because if there's a predator, so it's one thing I told my wife: one man's honesty can be another man's lie. In other words, he can lie really good. I love you. All right, that's a lie. He's just really trying to get the goods. And then one guy can say, I love you, and he really mean it. So that's why the gift of discernment or women's intuition is so key and prevalent to know that. But if you address something early enough, and I see, okay, now she kind of hip to it, I then myself will remove myself.
Yeah.
Because, I can't get over her.
Yeah.
I was watching another podcast, and they was talking about a predator. And the guy was talking about one of the things that if there's a strong father figure in the life.
Or a family bond.
Or a family, if there's a strong father figure or a strong family dynamics, if they have a concept of God, then that particular predator doesn't go or doesn't do what they're planning to do. So if this person, whether it be a male or female, and they're in this relationship and there's an issue come up and they address it immediately with someone who they may respect, or like say there's another couple and they, hey, want to bring this out because this is what we're having. If they bring it out immediately and go ahead and address it, I'm telling you, the predator then will realize, okay, wait a minute, this is something different. And let me remove myself away from the situation. And you're going to hurt. You're going to cry because you think this is the love of my life. But in actuality, it wasn't. And a lot of people get married to the enemy.
Yeah.
Not knowing that this was an enemy the whole time. But nobody who is abusive is going to say, hey, my name is Keith. You know, I abuse women. How you doing? Like that doesn't
Look,
work.
I abuse women, but not you.
Yeah, right. Man, yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you now talk about marriage differently than you did before?
So my answer to that is carefully. And I'm saying that because if I'm talking to couples, I don't really do much. I try to do much talking. So my talking is, if I can say it this way, the conversation I have is listening with the intent to hear and understand. Because if I do that more, then my words become few and they become more acceptable because I'm not talking a lot and talking over myself. Another thing I do is because at one point I used to try to give, and I wanted them to follow the way my marriage went. That ain't how it works. Everybody. So my belief is that all marriages have some of the same components in it. It's kind of like, I always give the analogy of a snowflake. Each snowflake, it's made up pretty much of some of the same foundational thing, but the shape of it and how it's formed, that's different.
Yeah.
So there are things that may be common in the marriage, but your marriage and the shape of your marriage, the shape of your relationship, that may be a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? My wife liked live roses. Somebody else's wife might not like live roses, but they like, turtle candy. I don't know, whatever the case may be. So does your wife like gifts? Okay, yeah, my wife like gifts too, but the gifts are different.
Right.
So for me, it's try not to give them the advice based on how my marriage is and how it went.
Yeah.
That's why I have to listen more to figure out, okay, if you're asking for my advice about marriage, based on what you said, here's a likely solution. Check this out. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
And allow them, because they may disagree with that. And I'm okay with that. I used to get mad, like, I'm giving you this advice and you won't accept it. Like, what? No, they may disagree with your advice. Okay, that's cool. If you disagree with that, then let's figure out something else till we get to a solution of what you do agree with. So that would probably be for me.
I would say that now I am more delicate and authentic. I try not to hide anything, and I try to be real delicate and sensitive as to how to approach whatever it is about marriage and what comes with marriage.
So what comes with marriage? So I want to go back to something you said, because I think this is part of the snowflake that needs to be foundational, and that's friendship. So I've heard that a person say, man, no, my wife ain't my best friend. Well, that lies an issue, because she was saying that, yeah, I'm your friend, and that was one of the things that I didn't want to hurt my friend. Like, I didn't want to do because I'm an only child, so friendship is big for me. You feel what I'm saying? And so my wife becoming my best friend made it easier for me to make sure that she's covered first. I'll make sure that she's first in everything, before my mother, before my father, before my friends. before my cousins, in this case, even before my children,
I
before
would say
church,
even before you. 'Cause
before
you-
church,
yeah, I
you know what I'm
was-
saying? Church is not my first.
Yeah.
My wife is first, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
What? Okay, so let's just briefly, high level. How do you become friends if you're not with your spouse already? How do you become? Because that's going. I see that a lot now, right? Like you really friendship, and I think that's a pretty relevant conversation within the context of marriage. It's like you want to be friends. I was watching something the other day saying, and the guy was saying, most of the men I know don't even like being around their wives. They don't enjoy it. Like they, and it's like, man, that is a sad reality. You know what I'm saying? And for those that would like to maybe try, how do you become friends with your spouse?
So you said one word though. You just said try. Like try to do the things, get into their world.
Get into their world.
You know what I'm saying? What do they like doing? Try it out.
Don't try to change your spouse. Enjoy your spouse. When you just think about when you are building a friendship, a true authentic friendship is just you spend time together, you find things that are of interest, and the truth of the matter is a lot of time, I know for me, it's kind of like, oh, I want to be their friend, so you go and play. Yeah. You know what I mean? You go and you say, hey, I want to be your friend, and just think about that childlike playground behavior. It's like, oh, they make the monkey bars look fun. So, oh, I want to go and play with you. Would you be my friend? We don't know that we really just saying, can I play? Can I spend time? But again, it goes with that having confidence, going to your spouse and entertaining the idea that, hey, I heard a couple today on Unlearn talk about friendship. I don't really know what that looked like, but hey, you want to go get ice cream? Yeah. And let's just talk about it, right? It's the time, it's the talking, it's the tone, you're being humble, because guess what? I'm at your mercy because you could say no, even though that's something that I want. Yeah. And so then I have to let time and space play its part. And then guess what? Hopefully the friendship will develop over time.
So it's really, in my opinion, it's not that complicated. I think we complicate it, but it's really not. It's really just spending time. You think about friendship growing up when you were younger, and if somebody new moved into the neighborhood, where you went over and you introduced yourself. Yeah. And you, hey man, I got Atari. They said, how old I am. I got an Atari in my house. You want to come over and play my Atari? Guess what? That friend left his house, came into my world and played my Atari.
Go back, excuse me. That goes back to inviting them into your world. Yeah. So, but now what you do is you offered something that may be of interest to both.
But not necessarily interesting to both, because even if they're not interested in...
Are you disagreeing with me?
Unfortunately, I am. If they're not... So, if you're not... So, just go with... I like Jack Ryan, the series. You don't really like Jack Ryan.
I do now.
But remember now, she got into my world. Right. And by getting to my world to watch something she didn't like, she liked it. Yeah. She liked Golden Girls. I'm not really that fan of Golden Girls, but let me give you a good one. So let me back it up by saying this. In grade school, when I was growing up, it was elementary school. In elementary school, I'm in the first grade, but I can read on the third grade level. That's all right. Good. So I can read very well. I don't like reading. She loves reading.
Give me a book.
So guess what I do? I find the interest that she's interested in, the books that she's interested in. I don't want to read the same books that she's interested in because I want to grow closer to her. So whatever she likes, I get into her world. I'm not really big on reading. Like the one book I read the most, and that went until 26, was the Bible. Yeah. That's because I feel like I really had to read it from beginning to the end in order to be saved. You know what I'm saying? Sure. So, but other than that, like I'm reading the book. It's more like listen to the book now. The Fall of Lucifer.
By
she
Wendy
loves it.
Alec.
But guess what?
Yes.
I'm reading the book because I want to have a conversation with my wife so that we can have something in common to continue this relationship that we're having. So it's not complicated. The problem is people don't want to be with their spouse.
Not only that,
instead of just being honest, like, man, you just don't want to be there. So you still have not divorced singleness and married or accepted that you're no longer by yourself. You're with your spouse,
Yeah.
and y'all have to grow together in this thing.
All things. In all things. Now, I'm not saying that you have to take on the same idea. You have to be your spouse, right? Because you're your own person. Like he married or she married, you marry who you married.
Right.
And so that's your special sauce. But it's something about when you share, you have all things in common, when you are on one accord, when you can finish each other's sentences, and you can kind of like read their eyes when they like ready to go. You know what I mean? It's like they don't have to say anything. It's just kind of like, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and go home.
Right.
It's those things. It's the said without being said.
Yeah.
That comes with spending quality time and quantity of time.
So here's the thing about God too. And this is my pet peeve about why some people prayer aren't answered, because they don't have a relationship. And it's hard to have requests and you don't have a relationship. But if you have a relationship and use prayer primarily for building a relationship with God,
Say it.
then when it's time to request, you'll know what not to request, because okay, based on the relationship, I know God's character.
Yeah.
I'm not going. I had a young lady say that a guy told her to pray for another woman's husband. That ain't of God. You know what I'm saying? So if you pray there and it don't happen, you can't be like, no, that's not of God. But I just believe when we're in a relationship, this is my daughter Joy said, when we're in relationship with God and we're building this relationship and we know what God's character is, we are better at praying and asking God for the right things. And it's something that he wants for us anyway.
Yeah.
So if it's something that he wants for us anyway, the answer is never no.
Right.
The answer would be either yes or not right now.
Yeah.
Because it's what God wants for us anyway.
Yeah.
So we take that with our marriage. If we're building this relationship with our spouse and we're spending time, and there are things that you may ask your spouse, and it's something your spouse wants for you anyway, they're not going to say no. They're either going to say yes or they're going to say not right now. And not right now may depend on maybe they don't have the money right now. Maybe something else is going on. But even in that, if they say not right now, there's going to be, check this out, a conversation that's going to be had.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to spend more time talking to each other.
Right.
So again, not complicated. Get into each other's world. Spend time with each other. And really be there. Be at the moment. Put the phone away, Patrick, and be there with them. Because even if I go watch, because I really didn't want to watch Creed, but she wanted to watch Creed. But if we watch Creed 3,
yes,
and I'm like, well, let's watch Creed 3. But I'm always on the phone, on YouTube, or what's the other thing? Facebook or TikTok or whatever these things are. I'm really not present.
Yep.
If we're going out to dinner and we're sitting there and I'm mostly on my phone, eating and not paying attention, I'm there, but I'm really,
but you're
not
not
I'm
there.
not there.
Yeah.
And I think that's the illusion, is that she looking. Did you see how she looked at me? She looking like, why are you still talking?
Yeah.
You talked the first half of this whole. So the illusion is me being in the space is me being there.
Yeah.
I'm bodily there, but mentally and emotionally, I'm not there. And so they're thinking, well, we spend time with each other all the time. No, we don't. You're in the same room, but you're not there.
So they'll go back to the quantity, but not
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
But when you do them both together, that's when the change occurs.
Exponential.
When it's quantity and quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to of course, you just don't want to be a drag along, or you don't want,
You're right.
I'm just saying, like, it's like, I'm just going because you dragged me to the dinner, you dragged me to the movies, like, and people know, like, and that's the interesting thing too with being in close relationship with in marriage or friendship. Like, when someone wants to be in your presence, you can detect it, and so you get to a place where I don't want to force you. So then that's where the disconnect starts to happen.
Yeah, that's good.
So again, like, make sure that you remember who you said yes to. That's what you have to hold on to. Like, remember why you said yes. You said that you would to this person.
Yeah.
You said that I would love you. I will respect you. I will, and so now they done got so sophisticated. They come with their own vows as if to say that the traditional vows are canceled out. No, you still are responsible for loving that spouse, respecting that spouse, learning how to trust, what is living life if you can't even walk with somebody. That's the whole beauty. Sidebar, but on point. That's the whole beauty of marriage. It's two choosing to walk together in sync in worshiping and glorifying God on earth.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, man, I like and love you enough to make the adjustments.
Yeah.
I like and love you enough to go with the changes.
Yeah.
Right? It's to be with you. Like, I know it's going to rain and I know it's going to snow and I know the sun is going to shine. But if we just so happen to get caught at the bus stop in the rain without an umbrella, I wouldn't want anybody to be with anybody else but you with these issues.
That's good. That's good. So you all have a podcast.
Yes.
Tell us about the podcast and where can people find it?
YouTube at His Wife, Her Husband, and on Spotify and Google Play and Anchor, and it's the same at His Wife, Her Husband. I think it's 2 words. His wife is 1 word. Her husband is 1 word. So that's 2 words.
Yes, it is. And you all, you also coach couples,
right?
So talk about that.
So here's the thing: we went through I forgot what it's called.
Preparing
and Rich become marriage facilitators, and that's one of the certifications that we got to be marriage coach. SHEMIKA just actually finished, just graduated to be a life coach. Yeah. And so what we're doing, using the YouTube channel, which is His Wife, Her Husband, and the podcast to kind of get the message out to the people, letting them know that we are here to help them build and sustain their marriage from a biblical perspective.
Yes, Lord.
And so we offer marriage coaching, and they can, if they want marriage coaching, they can go to hiswifeherhusband.net, and from there you can sign up for what's it called?
A discovery call.
Discovery call. Where we're calling. You can set up your appointment time for us to sit down and talk with you all, and to see if we're a good fit for each other.
Yeah.
So it's not just, let's go, but no, because through the discovery call, we may find out that you need more than coaching.
Yeah.
So we're not counselors, we're coaches.
Yeah.
Coaches. And so they can go on hiswifeherhusband.net and schedule an appointment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
excited.
And listen,
exciting.
here's the thing. This is purpose.
Yeah.
What we're doing, because this is the heartbeat of our marriage, is to help couples.
Yeah.
Like my wife and I, we've done things separately and we've supported each other. This is the very first thing we're doing together with each other for a purpose. So I'm grateful that we're one of the ones that we found what our purpose is in life. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not done grudgingly or of necessity. It's something we're doing cheerfully. See how I threw the word of God? Anyway, it's good. So
and that's true.
This is purpose driven,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm so excited about what God is going to do moving forward with His Wife, Her Husband.
Yeah.
And we're working on some other things that we're not supposed to say right now,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's gonna be a wonderful thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
You're going to tell me afterwards, though, right?
Yeah, I am going to tell you
very
afterwards.
good. Okay, very
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
very
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Okay, so, all right, before we go, I want to do this. 'Cause like I said, I'm getting married in about a month.
I'm so excited for you. Oh my goodness, I'm like really smiling. You are like the best bride
Oh,
in waiting.
She didn't say that. She does. She said it all the time in the house.
You are like that girl.
She
like,
said, "Ari's
I'm
doing
so
such a good
proud
job."
of
She's
you. I'm
she
so
talks about you all the time.
proud of you. I know.
thanks,
I
Mika.
know this your podcast, but I'm so
Thank you,
proud
thank you,
of
thank
you.
you, thank
Oh my goodness, so much integrity. That's the authenticity. You just taking it. You enjoying the journey. You're not flustered.
At least that's what we don't see.
Yeah. Now again,
We don't see
now,
that.
I do know that you are human. But
Yes.
what I'm saying is that you don't give that tone or that vibe of being extra. Like
Yeah,
you can, some people, like I know there are moments where you will be extra.
Sure.
Like you just matter of fact, it's like, this is that,
Right.
and I mean that.
Yep.
So that's one thing. But it's another to like, yeah, you that girl. Like, I mean, like, you just so chill. Now, I know you probably kicking your feet under
She
but
brags about you all the time.
Man,
She
I'm
does.
so excited for you.
well, I mean,
So surface you like a duck
And
floating.
Ty.
wow. Okay.
I'm
Wow.
excited for
Thank
y'all.
you. Thank y'all.
Yep,
I appreciate that.
I cannot wait.
I'm excited. I really am excited. Like,
That's
and
good.
I'm grateful to be excited because, you know, if I wasn't, I'd be concerned. So, all right. So before we go, that's what I want you to do for me. Okay. Y'all can turn it off if you want to, but, this for me. So I want you to do a freestyle, 2 minutes.
Huh?
Boom. 3 minutes. I just want 3 minutes of back and forth, unlearn this about marriage from you.
So when you say like you want us to like rap like this, like, oh, it's like you know how they say
Yeah.
off the dome.
I don't even know why I tried to do that. So
That's kind
no,
of
I just want you to flow back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Just flow back and forth. So
Okay.
and just like unlearn this. So make sure you unlearn this.
Oh, I got one that
Okay.
I do want you to.
Okay.
I want you to
Make it short and quick.
Okay.
Unlearn. Boom. You about to give us
Okay.
a dissertation.
Yeah, I am. It's gonna be like 3 sentences. I think.
Okay, that's okay.
here we go.
Three is good.
So I know.
So disobedient.
Or it has to be one word.
No.
Oh,
It could be 1 to 3 sentences. You got it. That's
Are
the
you just
max.
saying that? Okay,
No, go
great.
ahead.
Okay, great. So another thought that I had about that I want you to say as far as unlearning. Listen, no. What I want you to unlearn is that in marriage, sex is not just doing it; it's intimacy. Like it is the joining of the two in the. Like, enjoy each other. You know, it's not just assignment. Oh, I probably shouldn't have did that, but. Oh, wow.
Said assignment.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like boom, boom, boom. It's like, no, like take time to get into your husband's world and let him explore your world. Don't
she's a
cut it
writer.
off. Yeah.
She's
I
a
do.
writer.
My mom was a writer too.
So this
the
will
simple
be more,
is
the more,
unlearn. see what I'm saying?
unlearn the act of sex.
Okay.
And learn the sacredness.
I love it.
Of it. Did
That's
I do
good.
well?
That's
Did I
good.
do well, homie?
That's good. That's good. Okay, Pat.
Unlearn gender roles.
That's good.
Really? No, just
That's
playing.
good. That's good.
Okay. Unlearn.
Unlearn the life of singleness.
That's good.
Keep going.
Unlearn financial responsibilities. That would go with gender roles too.
Unlearn work. Like unlearn working separately.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah,
Work
it is.
together.
Yeah, that's good.
Unlearn animosity. I'm on the road now. Unlearn anger.
Unlearn bad habits.
Yeah. Unlearn. I like how you said it earlier. Separateness.
She said go back and forth.
singleness,
We got 2-3
but
minutes.
I would say unlearn the separate.
Unlearn unhealthy family traditions.
Ooh, that's good. Ooh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good.
And unlearn worshiping apart.
What's that?
I want them to worship together. Unlearn worshiping separate or apart.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got.
That's
Yeah.
good, y'all. That's good. You got one more in you? Go ahead.
That's a lot.
In your
Come on.
e-shot.
Unlearn seeing marriage as a task.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
Unlearn the grudgery. Don't pick that up.
I'm gonna say this: unlearn gossip. And the reason why I say that because we have a tendency to tell our friends and family members everything that's going on in our marriage,
Yeah.
and they don't need to know everything. So I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be gossip, but yeah,
Yeah.
unlearn over telling what's going on in your household.
Unlearn the silent treatment too.
I like what you said earlier about silence versus silent treatment.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
very profound.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
good. That's really
Unlearn or warring with your spouse. Unlearn that.
good.
That's trash. That's garbage. That's your best friend.
I
That's
got
your
another one.
comrade.
I'm trying to stick in the scriptures. Unlearn that the wife is the only one to submit.
Yeah.
Because the verse before, verse 21,
You're going too far.
says, submit yourselves one to another.
Yeah. Unlearn some. Ooh, and unlearn selfishness. It's about serving. This is the place you get to serve. It's good stuff. And it's safe. Oh, yeah. Unlearn risk. It's safe. Oh, my goodness. Your marriage should be a safe space and place. Oh, yeah. Unlearn just letting the house do what it do. Set the tone.
Yeah.
Set it. Set it in order. Ooh, and enjoy it. Unlearn again that work. It's a work and it's a rest. And if we would do well to listen to the scripture, the Holy Spirit said, enter that rest. Don't be like the other ones that never learn to enter that rest. And it's a rest. It's a rest in marriage.
And we're going to rest that right there. That's good. That's good. Y'all, thank you. This was so good.
Thank you.
This was so good.
Yeah.
I'm excited. So thank you for listening once again. She in it. Thank you once again for listening to the UnlearnT Podcast, where we are here to help you gain the courage to change your mind. We have Patrick and SHEMIKA here. Go visit their website, hiswifeherhusband.net.
That's if they want to sign up for.
If you want for coaching. You have a YouTube channel, His Wife, Her Husband, and then a podcast, His Wife, Her Husband.
Right.
Y'all get the gist? His Wife, Her Husband. All right. So we'll be back next week with our next guest, and let's keep moving towards freedom together.
Amen.
Peace. Thank you once again for listening to the UnlearnT Podcast. We would love to hear your comments and your feedback about the episode. Feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram and to let us know what you think. We're looking forward to the next time when we are able to unlearn together to move forward towards freedom. See you then.